Hello, everybody. This is an exciting day for myself as well as my podcast family. For those that aren't aware, we have endured almost 7 weeks of hard work of trying to get our podcast set up and launched, and it's still a work in progress. I have here with me the three of my other podcasting family, where each one of us is going to announce who they are, and we're going to give a brief description of what our podcast is about. So my name is Sam Lloyd, and my podcast is the Red Chair Life. And just real briefly, it's basically about men in between the ages of 45 to 50 years of age that have worked for corporate America, and you wake up one day wondering, what is the purpose of my life? Not only that, but like many of us, we've lost passion and have no direction. In addition to that, also the financial security aspect as we get older. So although my podcast is kind of highlighted specifically toward a narrow niche, it kind of applies to everybody. So I'm hoping that the launch of my podcast will bring a lot of people to kind of come in and go through a learning process of what I'm going through. One of the things I'm going to be doing differently is that it's not just about me talking with guests, but it will be a personal experience in terms of a real life podcast where I take the lessons learned from my podcast and apply it to my own life. So I'm really excited about this. It's been a long time coming. We're still in the process of getting it finalized, but we are definitely here. So thank you very much. Marwyn, how are you doing?
Hi Sam. Hi everyone. Yeah, so I'm Dr. Marwyn, and my podcast is Back to Being. I created this podcast because I think it's time to get back to being a human or a soul. It's time. We've been drowning in all this mainstream garbage for many years, and people are finally waking up to wanting something different with their lives. I targeted people people like me, vitalistic, holistic practitioners in late 20s or early 30s who have a fantastic product, idea, or service, and are finding it difficult to get to that next level. And also, it's for keeping myself accountable. By interviewing people who are on their A game, I keep myself on my A game. And together, I want to build a community, not just for my profession or my peers, but people with similar philosophies, other social entrepreneurs, to all grow together and support each other in the long run. That's what it's about. So it's time to get back to being who we want to be.
That is awesome. Well, Marwyn, thanks a lot, and we'll be getting back to you shortly as well. David.
Okay.
Hi, yes. Well, I've been working on my podcast as well for the last 7 weeks or so, and it's been there's been quite a lot of challenges, and it's been a completely life-changing experience. My podcast is NORTHFIELDS.SPACE, self-empowerment, and it is a health optimization and well-being podcast focused on natural nutrition and biohacking, doing the ketogenic diet and intermittent fasting. Our core values are love and respect, inspiring people to make positive change in their life. So I've been on a health and well-being journey myself for the last year. I used to be 120 kilograms last January, and now I am 70 kilograms. And I've done that through keto and intermittent fasting. Now that I've got to my sort of optimum weight, I'm basically optimizing myself, and I just want to pass that knowledge and experience on to anybody and everyone who wants to learn about it. So that's my podcast, and I just want to help as many people as I can.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thanks a lot, David. And we'll be getting back to you in a few minutes as well. Mr. Johnathan, how about your introduction, about your podcast?
Hi everyone. I'm Dr. Flores from South America, Ecuador. I have created the podcast Ancestral Medicine for Modern Times in order to help people to connect and share, to create a global community of people that are looking to live in a simple way, to connect with the ancestral knowledge. So in these modern times, everything is looking so fast, looking forward, forgetting mistakes from the past that we receive as knowledge from the ancestors, from the elders. So So I also am a doctor in medicine plants, in traditional medicine plants, natural medicine plants from Ecuador, and I work specifically with ayahuasca, for example. And there is a great knowledge hidden there that is not just about the substance of DMT. It's about a way of living, a way of connecting with life. So this podcast is to share this knowledge and also to help people to connect with others, healers, that are how they are connecting with life, how they are helping, how they have helped them, and how they are helping others in order to grow and to make this world a beautiful place.
Wow, that is pretty awesome. And one of the things that I definitely want to do is I was telling Johnathan that I'm probably going to want to try to visit him to experience the portion of his podcast. Thank you very much, Johnathan.
Thank you.
The one thing that I wanted to kind of provide an updated explanation that all four of us have been going through a course called the London Real Academy on podcasting. And as I stated early on, this is our 7th week of going through this. I think we have about 3 or 4 more weeks. But the experience that we went through in terms of putting our podcast has fundamentally changed my life. And I think it's kind of impacted everybody else. Like, for example, my speaking ability prior to this was like this. And I'm sure the rest of you guys that have gone through the exact same experience. So, Marwyn, give me a brief description on what's your initial experience of when we first started and right now.
Yeah, when we first started, I wasn't exactly sure what my direction would be. I always had an idea of how I wanted to serve people, but I never thought it would be with broadcasting, to be honest. And then as time went along, you start in the community with all of us, amazing people. And what I realized is that, if we share our messages, that's not only going to spark something inside of us, it's going to spark something magnificent in the people that are listening to us. And we're going to inspire them to come out of their shells and open up to and share their gift with the world.
Yeah, absolutely. How about you, David? What was your experience in the past, from the time we started now today?
Yeah, well, I mean, when we started, I knew that I always wanted to do something like this. Because I've been watching people on YouTube now for over a year. This is how I got onto this journey in the first place. And I always aspire to be like some of these people, like Dr. Berg, Timu Ardena, Simland, and people like this who are always outputting content on YouTube. But I just didn't know how I was going to do it, or how it was going to work. I just knew I wanted to do it. So going on this course really kickstarted me into it. And it's really pushing me to actually get on and do it. The resistance has been huge, just the time and everything. But if you want to make it successful, you've got to put the time in, you've got to put the effort in, you've got to stay positive as much as you can and just get through that resistance. Some days you just feel that's it. I don't really want to do this now. That's enough. But you've just got to pick yourself up, just come to a calm space, sort yourself out, and continue and get on with it. So that's what I'm doing.
Definitely. Yeah, what David really meant to say is that this course has kicked our butts. It really has, but it's all worth it, though. It's all worth it. All right, Johnathan, how about yourself? From the time we started 7 weeks ago and today, what's your experience been like?
Well, the first creation for the podcast was very difficult, because at the beginning I didn't have any person to interview, have no answers, so I have to create the solo podcast. No, that was the other alternative.
Right.
So it took me like 3 days, working like 5 hours each day in order to finish it. And then the part of recording so now after these 7 weeks, it's just sitting, recording, and just uploading to the cloud, and it's flowing very. It's very simple. It's almost like without effort. But
Yes, right now.
right now, yeah. But before was like, oh my God, so it was
Like,
very.
I think David or somebody else had mentioned this earlier on, or in one of our previous conversations. But when we first started, literally for a 1 minute podcast session, it would take me like 2 hours of like trying to get it out to where I thought was perfect, And like Johnathan said, now it's like, okay, just talk.
And the camera also so the practice of the video log, sending
Yes.
these videos, it helps a lot to develop. So to you be because it's difficult to know that you're looking to the camera, but at the same time you're looking to millions of people.
Yes.
So there are millions of hearts they're looking, no?
Yes.
So, but you cannot see this from the beginning.
No.
you see yourself talking alone in front of a machine.
Yeah.
So,
Right. Well, the
That's
other
true.
thing that for me, I just had another interview last night, and I don't know. I think you guys have experienced the same thing, but this interview last night, I had a profound connection that really impacted me. It wasn't just talking to the person; it was like, I mean, you felt emotions, and I felt it in here. This is one of the first interviews where it's like there was a connection. And what's so profound that I'm beginning to learn is that what we're doing, we're sending out messages to thousands of people that need our assistance in whatever area of life. I mean, I didn't really comprehend this until a few weeks ago when I started getting emails from people telling me, my God, I'm glad you did that podcast. I'm in that exact situation. But have you gotten that kind of response with the guests that you've interviewed so far? Marwyn?
Oh yeah. I would definitely say so. Some of the couple of interviews I've done so far, definitely it shook me as well, because I saw myself in some of their stories, and also I know that listeners to our podcast are going to connect massively to that, because a lot of people are scared to say what they've experienced. But when they hear that we've been through it,
Yes,
they're going to be like, all right, I can make it too.
Absolutely. How about you, David?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, yeah. I would say, I mean, one of the people I know quite well, and the other person was somebody else on the course that I've interviewed so far, and that they've definitely been on the same page as me, and been into the same experiences. Into the keto and the intermittent fasting. So that's really good. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And Johnathan, how about you?
In my case, I already in my daily work already that I have 16 years working with people. So already the first people I start to interview and to working were people that already know me. So it was really easy because they already accept me. So I just ask them,
Okay.
and they say yes. So it's. I was already interviewing people. The difference is I was not recording and not opening to the people outside to the world. So
okay.
So for example, for me, this podcast now has helped me a lot to develop to bring outside what already has been cooking at home. No,
Okay.
so I can open the restaurant more or less. No.
Absolutely. Well, this has definitely been an exciting moment. This is built up for 7 weeks getting to this. For us, this is definitely a monumental moment for us launching our podcast. And just to kind of get back with myself, the Red Chair Live, Johnathan, your podcast, the Ancestral Medicine for Modern Times, and then with Marwyn, Back to Being, and David Northfield, the Self-Empowerment. This has definitely been a point where I believe that my main purpose is going to impact a lot of other people's lives, and obviously our lives are going to change. But I think this is for me is going to be one of the memorable points of getting our information, our podcast launched out there. Any last closing words, Marwyn?
Yeah, I think, for me going into this, I never looked at it as a way to make money or a business. I simply just wanted to share information. And where it's, I always think like a lot of what was stopping me before, I think if anyone is struggling out there, just think about this, 100 years from now, when it's all said and done, your great grandchildren are going to look back and talk about you. What will they say?
Right.
And that's what I can leave you with right there.
Awesome, man. Those are some very wise words. David, how about yourself?
Yeah, well, I'm just really excited about the podcast and everybody just being successful with it. So, yeah, go, everyone, go. Yes, do it.
And Mr. Johnathan.
I have a quote that came to me today in my morning's routine exercise and was, "You know you can do it until you do it."
I like that. All right, I'm going to write that down. You said my next guest interview. I love that. All right, gentlemen, it's definitely been a wonderful time. And man, I am so glad that we finally got to this point. I'm looking forward to the future, and definitely, even though we have separate podcasts, we're going to keep in connection to make sure that we get our word out there. And there's a lot of aspects where what I do ties in with Marwyn, what Myron ties in. I mean, the interconnection, you can't separate it. So that's one of the power of what our group is going to try to go forward as we launch each of our own podcasts. So thank you very much, and kudos to everybody. All right.
Thank you.